Happy Wednesday, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Puck with Jo. We've got 3 games on the slate today. Super excited to break these games down. The Bruins and the Leafs. Game 3, they're already back in Toronto. Now looking at last night's matchups, we did see the Capitals try their best, and we still saw Ovechkin not able to make an impact in that game. It's a shocker. I really am going to keep riding him for that anytime goal. It's got to come, you guys. Ovechkin's got to get frustrated out there. So the New York Rangers able to win yesterday's meeting 4-3. So we saw more out of the Capitals in that second game. They will be headed back to Washington for game 3. Now, that's not tonight. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. We had that one last night. It looked like Tampa Bay was going to win that game. The Florida Panthers, of course, able to get it done in overtime. This is one of those series that I am riding every single game to overtime. I think you look at the overtime in the next meeting as well. It was a phenomenal game out there between these two. I tell you, Bobrovsky with some of those saves, it was just stellar to see. We saw the Colorado Avalanche pick up a win in Winnipeg, something I didn't expect. I really did think Winnipeg would come out stronger defensively in that matchup versus Colorado last night. Colorado able to get a 5-2 win. I tell you, they were just flying on the ice out there in Winnipeg last night. Now, when we look at the Nashville Predators, they were able to get the win over the Vancouver Canucks. Now, you guys know I was riding their team total over 2.5, and also the Predators on the money line to be able to get that win. I loved it even more when Demko was ruled out. Now, bad news for Vancouver fans. Demko has been ruled out for the rest of this series. It's not pretty, you guys. Casey DeSmith now will be in goal for the Vancouver Canucks. This does not answer a good recipe or equal a good recipe here for myself to have that faith in Vancouver. They're going to have to win high-scoring matchups because, again, Casey DeSmith is not Demko in net. And I do think we'll see the Predators be able to score like they did. So that game will go back to Nashville with that series tied 1-1 apiece. The Avs and the Jets will go back to Colorado tied 1-1 apiece. And the Tampa Bay Lightning will return home down 0-2 versus the Florida Panthers in their game 3. So, and the Caps returning 0-2. In their game 3 as well. So that was yesterday's just quick recap there. We had fantastic action out there on the ice. 3 games today on today's slate. Good afternoon, Matt. Thank you so much for being here. So 3 games on the slate today. We're going to kick it off with the first one, the Boston Bruins taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Before I do that, let me pause just 1 second. I was on track with Nashville and Vancouver. Now, I did take that series to go 7 because I expected to go deep. I don't trust that bet now, but you can jump on the Predators if you think they're going to take the series. FanDuel's adjusted the odds. The Predators are now the favorite to take the series at -118 with the news of Demko going out. I do think there's so much value in the Predators to take the series at -118 with Saros in net. We saw that team absolutely step up last night, able to get those block shots on goal. What was it, like 31 block shots? Something insane last night out of the Nashville Predators. I do think those block shots come into play over this series and could capture them the win, giving Saros that support. So the Preds to take the series at -118. I did jump on this morning. And again, I think my series to go 7 is pretty much dead in the water if Casey DeSmith shows up like he did last night. The Predators just had his number, and that team played so strong defensively, getting that nice big win. Now, do I want Vancouver to stay competitive? Absolutely. Would I love to see it go to 7 and for the Predators or Vancouver to win? Yes, but I'm kind of hedging my bet a little bit with the Predators at -118. Okay. Let's jump into today. So the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Game 3 of the series here, you guys. Current odds to win the series. I'll just update those as well. It's a pick 'em right now for these teams to win the series at -110. I did think Toronto was dead in the water after game 1, but the way they answered back in the last game was absolutely phenomenal. You saw that drive out there on the ice, and they look like a different team. If Toronto can continue to play like that, they have every ability of pushing this one nice and deep and possibly getting the win over the Boston Bruins. Now, my one concern here with Toronto at home in game 3 of this series is the Boston Bruins actually had a better road record on the season than Toronto had for their home record. So it's kind of like maybe Toronto has a little bit of an upper hand. Now, the books don't think so. They're coming in at -105. minus 114 for the Toronto Maple Leafs for this game. That total sitting at 5.5 at minus 124, plus 102 to the under. I would take this one over that total before I would take it under. But my concern here is, will Toronto be able to score? In game one, Toronto was only able to put up one goal. Swayman was in net. Swayman was phenomenal in net for the Boston Bruins. Now let's just look at how many save shots he had on goal. I don't want to misquote you. He had 35 save shots on goal. There was only one goal allowed, so he did face 36. You're going to need Toronto to really step up and get those blocked shots in this game, because Samsonov, not that he's a weaker point here, but he needs more support from his defense. He can't face 36 shots a night. And with the high danger caliber shots that we're seeing out of players like Pastrnak, you can't expect Samsonov to save every single one of them. So defensively, Toronto needs to step up. They need to stand in front of that puck when it's flying at Samsonov's net and take one, to the pads and make sure that it doesn't get past them and to Samsonov. So that's what I'm looking for out of Boston here, for Toronto. Looking at Boston here, Boston can't take those penalties, and their 5-on-5 play on the road hasn't been the best. So they need to really shape up here on the road. I'm just not completely sold on the defense of Toronto. So looking at Boston, I do think they will be able to get 3 goals on Samsonov. Now their team total is sitting at 2.5. The team total over 2.5 is too juicy. It's at minus 156, so I can't bet it straight up. But I did throw same game parlay together. I took the Boston Bruins team total over 2.5, and that was at minus 156. But I combined it with David Pastrnak. You gotta love Pastor for the anytime goal. The books love him too. He's only like plus 105 for the anytime goal. But when I combined the two of them together, it came in at plus 158. Now this doesn't mean that I'm looking for. Sorry, there is a deer outside of my studio. It's just staring at me right now, and I'm just waiting for the dogs to start barking because it's the biggest one that I have seen in a while. Mama deer has come around. But looking at David Pastrnak, I do think he has ability to get on the scoreboard. And when we parlay the Bruins over 2.5 goals and David Pastrnak for the goal, that's coming in at plus 158. So I think that's the best value in this game. I can see Pastrnak really showing up. If you want to parlay his points, I would, but on FanDuel, you can't parlay his points with the team total to the over 2.5. You can just do the goal and the team total. But on other books, you can do the points. So if you look at the 1+ points, I do think that's strong. I think the Bruins could be able to score on that power play. When we look at Samsonov and what he's done in game 2, he stopped 27 of 29 shots on goal. So that was pretty strong. In game 1, he only stopped 20 of 24. So he did improve from game 1 to game 2, but I still do think the Boston Bruins can score 3 goals in this game. Now, when we look at Toronto and their ability to score first in the regular season, hang on, my dog is going to bark. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to mute myself. Sorry, the little one, the Chihuahua, is getting the dogs, the big dog going. So looking here at Toronto's ability to score first in this series or in this game, I do think is a possibility. Them to score the first goal in the first period is coming in at plus 130. They're at home. The home crowd is going to be behind them. And looking at them in the regular season, they did score that first goal in the first period 58% of the time. So I think the momentum they built from game 2 with that win could come out nice and strong, but that's the problem. Swayman in goal tonight. I just don't know if they're going to be able to hit him. Swayman was phenomenally strong in game 1. He stopped 35 of the 36 shots on goal, like I mentioned. Allmark in game 2 stopped 31 of 34. So Toronto is getting past the defense of the Boston Bruins here. Swayman needs to be on his game. But I could see that quick goal coming out of Toronto. So if you want to bet that, that's not my favorite bet of this game. I do like the parlay the best with Boston's team total over 2.5 and David Pastrnak for the anytime goal. That being said, Toronto can still come out and win this in a 4-3 style game. I do think this game has every opportunity of going to OT. I think it's super competitive out there. Now, looking at a couple other things, David Pastrnak for the power play point, I think is a solid bet as well. That's coming in at plus 190. If you want to look at Austin Matthews here off his phenomenal game in game 2, he had 1 goal and 2 assists, 8 shots on goal. So he was able to get around this defense of the Bruins. His anytime goal tonight is coming in at minus 120. In game 1, he had 5 shots on goal, so he's repeatedly getting these shots. You could also look at Tyler Bertuzzi. I think Bertuzzi is an interesting player to look at with William Nylander out of the lineup. Now, we still have question marks around if William Nylander will hit the ice tonight or not. We know Austin Matthews didn't hit the ice this morning, but it sounds like kind of maintenance. If he all of a sudden is out, I tell you, it won't be pretty for Toronto with both of them out. I doubt that he's going to be out of this, but I really don't like that he didn't hit the morning skate. Yes, it was optional. I know Toronto fans are going crazy with my post that it was an optional skate. He didn't have to hit it, but still, we're not NBA players, right? Like, get your butts out there on the ice. Anyway, Tyler Bertuzzi, if William Nylander is not participating tonight in the game, his anytime goal is plus 270, and we've seen Bertuzzi really step up with Nylander off the ice. He has taken that number 1 power play line with Austin Matthews without Nylander there. So I do like Bertuzzi at plus 270 for that anytime goal. Okay. Tavares was good in the last game as well. Yeah, John, we can't hit it every time. I'm going to take Ovi the next game as well. If you don't want to tail it, I wouldn't tail it. But I do think, and I told you it was an unpopular bet, right? Ovi to get free. So, Kev, welcome to the show. Okay, let's look at the next game here. We got the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Dallas Stars. Now, Vegas came out just flying. Mark Stone on the power play, getting that first goal out there in this game. Actually, let's look at the series price right now. Dallas is plus 136 to take the series, and the Vegas Golden Knights at minus 164. The series to go over 5.5 is minus 220, so unbettable. Here, I don't think anyone gets the sweep. Now, Vegas tonight for the game is plus 132 and minus 160 here for the Dallas Stars. So unbettable money line, but I do, again, think Dallas is the right side. They need to stay out of the box, and this is the biggest issue here. Out of the box because we're seeing Vegas capitalize on the power play. Mark Stone got a goal on the power play, and Thomas Hertl got a goal on the power play. They can't do that. Now, Dallas did a phenomenal job in the second and third period at limiting Vegas's ability to get those shots on goal. It was fantastic. That first period, they allowed shot after shot out of Vegas. In the second and third, they held them to like 3 in the second and 4 in the third, or vice versa. It was one way or the other. So I was really impressed with what we saw out of Dallas to finish up that game. It gives me faith in them here to be able to get the win. Now, I don't trust the puck line for the full game. Laying 1.5 is plus 162. This is going to be a tight game that has every opportunity of going to overtime, so I can't touch it there. The total of 5.5 at minus 134 with this goaltending matchup, I tell you, I'm not eager to jump on the over or under as well. We've seen a lot of run and gun hockey in some of these matchups. These teams looking to get on the board quick and fast, and I do think this is a game Dallas can't afford to lose and go back to Vegas down 0-2. So the minus 160 is the right side, I believe, for the Dallas Stars. The books, I just feel like Vegas won that last game, coming in at plus 1. What are they right now on the money line? Plus 132. It's like they're asking you, like, please give us Vegas money, and I'm not going to buy it here. I do think it's Dallas. So a way to find some value in this one is looking at that first period. I do think in this game, they can't go back to the Kingdom, back to Vegas and the Fortress, the Kingdom, the Fortress. They can't go back there down 0-2. So I'm going to look at Dallas to do everything they can, especially in that first period, not make those mistakes and bring that solid gameplay we saw in the second and third period into this one with their home crowd behind them. You can take the Dallas Stars on the money line in the first period. That's coming in at minus 142. I'm willing to lay the minus 142 on the money line in the first with them. Now, if you want to take the puck line, I did put a half a unit on the puck line for the first period, laying the half a goal in the first period at plus 158. This team, we know they have the ability to bounce back. We saw them in the playoffs last season versus Minnesota Wild and I believe it was the Seattle Kraken. They lost game 1 and were able to come back and win the series, but then they did lose in the Western Conference to the Vegas Golden Knights here. So they know how important it is, and they know how to bounce back off those losses in the playoffs. So I do think here, first period, puck line half goal at plus 158, as well as that money line at minus 144 is where I really have to go with this game. But for this to happen, Dallas has to stay out of the box. If they don't stay out of the box, it's dead in the water. Vegas is going to be able to capitalize in that. They had 3 goals in the first period in the last game. The Stars were able to get 2, and then they went 1 goal. 1 goal in the second for Vegas, 1 in the third for Dallas, but unable to get back. Now, if you're looking at players, some shot props here, there's a lot of games where these shot props are so highly juiced. But if you look at Jamie Benn here of the Dallas Stars, he was able to record 7 shots on goal in game 1. His 3+ shots on goal in game 2 here is at plus 138. I do think that holds so much value here. When we look at Logan Thompson in game 1, he stopped 25 of 29 shots on goal. When we look at Jake Ottinger, oh my God, Jake Ottinger was an absolute mess out there. He stopped 11 of 15. So the Dallas Stars did everything they could on defense to give him the support. Jake Ottinger, he was so frustrating out there in net for the Dallas Stars. So looking at that, 15 shots only by Vegas on Jake Ottinger. The defense stepped up. The majority of those shots were in that first period. The second and third, Dallas locked down. Because of how that kind of trends, I do think in this one, Logan Thompson isn't as bad as his numbers reflect, only stopping 25 of 29. I would take this game under before I took it over as well. I expect these teams to play those top defensive games, but we're seeing it. You know, Avs and Winnipeg last night, we're not seeing what we need to see out of the goaltending there. So, and I would have expected it was Gorgiev last night and not Connor Hellebuck that had the bad night. So it's going to be interesting. I would take the under 5.5 again before I took the over, but I do think Dallas in the first period is the way to go. The over 5.5, and this is juicy at minus 134. Could we see the first period explode again? We could. That's for sure. Okay. It is hard to fade the champs in this one. It is so hard, but look at that price. Why are the books giving us such great plus money on the Vegas Golden Knights? We shouldn't be getting plus 132 on the Vegas Golden Knights, even against the Dallas Stars after they won that first game. Look at Colorado and Winnipeg. Actually, that line was disrespectful. Colorado, I believe, closed like minus 125, and Winnipeg was a dog again. Yes, Colorado able to get the win, and Winnipeg had won the game before. But I just think here the books are saying, okay, hand us over your money, and we're going to give you plus money for Vegas. It doesn't make sense to me. Let's go. Let's make some money. That's for sure. Let's try. Jeremy, we're trying today. It's going to be a crazy day out there on the ice. But then, yeah, Jamie Benn's shots on goal tonight, plus 138 for 3+, I think is solid. We saw Jamie Benn with a goal for the Dallas Stars. Jason Robinson had a goal. And we also saw Mark Stone, the opening power play, Hurdle, the big power play goal, and Jack Eichel for 2 assists. So those were your main players in the last game. But let's talk about the Kings and the Oilers. Are the Kings dead in the water? Can they stop Connor McDavid is the biggest question. Connor McDavid with 5 assists. Absolutely mind-blowing. I never thought in my lifetime I would see it. Now, we did see Wayne Gretzky do it. He did it twice in his career. The last time someone had 5+ assists was Wayne Gretzky back in 98. It's insane. It's completely insane to have the 5+ assists. Now, when we look at Connor McDavid, he has 29 points in 14 career playoff games versus the LA Kings. So right away, the LA Kings I don't think they're stopping him tonight. You could look at Connor McDavid for a power play boy, but you're going to have to lay almost 7-1 for your money. It is like minus 640. For Connor McDavid for power play point. I have never seen a player have so much juice on a player prop like that. It's just insane. So I looked at a couple other things. I'm looking at Connor McDavid for the 2+ points tonight. It's still juicy at minus 130. I do think he can get 2 points on the board tonight. But if you take him up to 3+ points, I did bet that as well for a half a unit. That's coming in at plus 250. There is just no stopping number 97 out there. I think he comes with that fire, with that drive from that last game. And he obviously was able to hit Cam Talbot so strong. He looked a mess out there in that game. So I will ride Connor McDavid. And I'll keep riding him in this series. He is unstoppable right now, and he's really come to play. Now, another thing I'm looking at here is we saw Edmonton win it 7-4, but we still saw the Kings be able to get those 4 goals. They have a team total in this one at 2.5 at minus 118 to the over. And I do still not trust Skinner out there, allowing the Kings to fight their way back in that game. And it was those mistakes that they made, allowing Edmonton to go on the power play, that really cost them that game. They got this game within 2 goals, and then Edmonton was able to come out really strong. So costly penalties here will crush the Kings in this series versus Edmonton. Edmonton is going to capitalize on every single mistake the LA Kings make. So I am going to take the Kings team total, though, over 2.5 at minus 118. I expect Skinner to allow, 3 goals in this one. Could we see Edmonton still win it? Absolutely. Like I said, I'm still riding Connor McDavid for his points to the over. I expect this game to be a higher scoring one. Could we see it go 3-3 into overtime? We could. Now, the Kings have to lock down on that defensive side. So could we see it go 3-2? We could as well. Cam Talbot has to come out so much stronger. So I'm going to stay off the total for this one because I do expect eventually in this series the defenses to start locking down. In the past 2 seasons, we have seen the Oilers lose game 1 and the Kings win it. Now it's going to be interesting to see with the Oilers winning it, if the Kings can answer back and take the series. I don't think the Kings can take the series from what I saw out of them. Let's just look at those current series prices for you guys in this one. Edmonton to win the series. Oh my God, they've adjusted it to minus 410 for Edmonton to take the series. It is plus 315 for the LA Kings. I might look at hedging in this one. The over 5.5 is minus 134 as well. These lines are not going to look like this if the Kings can pull off the win tonight. I am tempted to take the Kings at plus 315. I wonder if I'm throwing away my money, though, in this one. If the Kings can take this back to LA with a win tonight and then go back home and win that next game, we're then going to get Edmonton as a dog to win the series, and I might be able to come back in and win both sides or hedge my bet and make some money if the Oilers are a big enough dog. Now, my problem is they might not be the big enough dog to make the hedge worth the juice that you're laying. So, okay. That's just my internal thought. I can't believe the LA Kings are plus 315 with this only being 1 game into the series. To give you context on that, I know the Bruins and the Leafs are tied up, so that's minus 110. The Stars and Vegas, the Stars are down by 1 game. Same situation as the Kings here, and they're plus 136 to take the series. Yes, they did have the most points in the Western Conference, so hats off to them, and we did see the Kings really battle it out in the end to make it into the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Lightning are plus 590 to take that series as well. Yes, they are down by 2 games. So that's more justified here than the Kings only down 1 game and plus 315. It's because the overvaluation of Connor McDavid, but he deserves that overvaluation as well. He's unstoppable out there. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. I hope you make some freaking money out there on the ice. Yeah, Kelly, there's a lot of things you can look at here. Edmonton plays a defense. They need to play defense like they did before. Bouchard for the point. It's an okay way to go. You saw Zach Hyman collect a hat trick in that last game. Leon Draisaitl was able to get a goal and an assist. Evan Bouchard, I think it was 4 assists out of Evan Bouchard. So Kempe would be another player I'd be looking at here for the LA Kings. So you guys, it's gonna be a great night of hockey. Yeah, John, I'm gonna keep riding Ovi. Ovi's gonna connect me on the goal and the power play point. I know it. Next game. always the next game. Come on, Ovechkin, we need you to step up. It's crazy how he's just being blocked out there on the ice. He's going to be frustrated going back into Washington. He has to be able to get on the board. Now, that's something, if you're playing a player for those player props, I recommend that you stay with that player, even if they really let you down in one of those games, unless it's like you just, well, see, even Austin Matthews in game 1, he didn't look like himself. He looked dead in the eyes, and he came back out in game 2. So if you're riding with a player over a course of a series because you do have faith in them, don't jump off them, because that's the night you're going to come out and you're going to be so frustrated because they're going to have a phenomenal night. So if you believe in a player, stick with that player with your player props over these series, because you've already capped all the reasons why you think they can get on the board. Best bet of the day. Let's go with Connor McDavid for his 2+ points, -130. I'd look at him for the 3+ points at +250 as well. There is no stopping number 97 out there on the ice. The LA Kings are going to do their best to try to limit him. He's still getting those points on the board. I expect a goal and an assist to get us that 2+ points tonight. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I really do think that game probably goes over, because I'm expecting the Kings to put some goals on the board as well. It's going to be absolutely fire out there on the ice tonight. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. I will be doing a Cup of Joe right away, so stay tuned for that. Let's talk some baseball. I'm ready to have a good day in baseball. Yesterday in baseball was phenomenal, except for the Blue Jays not being able with the Royals to go over the team total, or not the team total, the game total of 8.5. Super frustrating. We would have swept baseball yesterday. Let's do a K-prop. You guys want a K-prop today? I love betting props and the unders in the first 5 in baseball. Let me know what you guys prefer, and I will try to look for those. Stars better win tonight. Yeah, the Stars better win. I'm telling you, they can't go to Vegas down 0-2. That will just be the end of them, because at best they split in Vegas. If they split in Vegas and they come back home down 3-1, they're not taking the series. If they lose tonight, that series goes to Vegas. Oh man, what is Vegas to take the series, you guys? Quickly, one more time, looking at those series odds, because I can't remember off the top of my head. I got to go into that. The series for Vegas to take at -164. If Dallas ties it up tonight, it's going to stay competitive. The over 5.5 games for that series is -220. So unbettable there. It's going to be crazy, you guys. Have a fantastic night out there on the ice. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here on the daily. Turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. Stay tuned to my X as well. And then I'm on Game Time Decisions with Joe Ranieri later today. So make sure you join me over there. You guys, all the best. I will see you later. Happy Wednesday.